Are you still holding on to pain from the past? Do you still hold resentment towards people or situations? Do you hold resentment towards yourself for certain things that you chose to do or certain mistakes that you made? This is why forgiveness is so important. We don't forgive people because we condone the behaviour. We forgive to release its hold over us. We forgive so that we can heal. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. Forgiveness and self-forgiveness is so important on this healing journey. We find it so hard to forgive certain things or situations that happen to us. And we find it so hard to forgive ourselves for what we think was allowing that situation to happen. But we can't be hard on, I'll start with self-forgiveness. We cannot be hard on ourselves for things that we decided to do in the past. We only had a certain knowledge base. We made mistakes in order to grow. We made decisions based on what we knew at that time. So holding resentment towards yourself for past decisions, that's not really fair, because looking back, that version of you was broken. That version of you was wounded. And that version of you needed compassion and nurturing. And when I look back, I used to hold an awful lot of resentment towards myself in the past. And I used to be fucking, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And punishing myself for certain things. And, especially my teenage years, I was like, fucking hell, I rebelled. And I was like, so embarrassed and kind of so angry with myself for how I behaved. But when I started to do some inner teen work and some inner teen healing, I looked back at my teenage years and I was like, whoa, Angela, you did okay. I had so much trauma from my childhood, from being abandoned by my own mother. I could have done a lot worse. And in fairness, I really could have. And now I look back and I forgive myself for the things I did do, because for example, for me personally, as a teenage girl, transitioning from childhood into womanhood and not having a mother in my life to help me with that, I lived in a house with 2 fucking men. I was bound to fucking rebel. I was a little bit of, fucking, what's going on here? Not only did I feel unloved because my mother left, I was trying to become a woman in a fucking a toxic masculine household. And this was just fucked up. So I actually condone my behaviour because, Jesus Christ, no wonder I went a bit crazy. But because I forgive it, because it was fucking mild compared to what I could have done. And this comes to past relationships as well. I used to be angry with myself for allowing those kind of people into my life. But I was a vulnerable, wounded woman who had a very, very wounded inner child within her who was crying out to be loved. It wasn't my fault that the narcissist saw this as a target and used it to their advantage. It wasn't my fault that I was vulnerable and that I needed to be loved. It wasn't. How can I be angry at my child, my inner child? You know what I mean? How can I be angry at that? I made decisions based on my wounded inner child. How can I be angry with myself for that? This is why self-forgiveness is so fucking important. We prevent ourselves from moving forward because we're angry with ourselves for certain decisions or certain relationships that we went into, or not having the strength to fight off that control, in a sense. When we're controlling past relationships, we're like, why didn't I have the power to not have this happen? But when you're wounded, you don't have that power. But when you do the inner healing, you gain the strength to be able to prevent that from happening. So look back on your past and forgive yourself, because at the end of the fucking day, you did these things based on your wounding, on your traumas. You know what I mean? Your inner child wounding, your childhood trauma, past life trauma, all of it. So, and we make decisions based on our knowledge base as well. So if you grew up in a low vibrational environment, surrounded by toxicity, anger, substance abuse, all that kind of stuff, you're going to have some kind of wounding, and that wounding is going to lead to your decisions in life. So we need to forgive that part of ourselves. So in order to move forward, in order to be able to make new decisions and take new risks. because the lack of self-forgiveness is what prevents us from moving forward. And I think that's a few issues that I have there as well. Like, you know, I'm angry with myself for certain things that I did, but I know in my heart and soul the universe aligned it that way because this was part of my path. This is the thing, like, everything in our life is a lesson. So it was part of our path. We have to experience it to learn and grow from it. I won't make the same mistakes that I did in the past because I am better because of those mistakes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm grateful for my mistakes. I no longer condemn myself for the choices I made because I had to make them to become the person I am today. I'm stronger because of the trauma I went through. So, and I didn't ask for that trauma. I didn't put that trauma on myself. I was wounded and that happened to me. You know, and it actually happened for me. So I now understand this, and I now am able to forgive that part of myself for the choices I made. Now, when it comes to forgiving another person, this one is fucking hard. And I know this from experience. This is really hard. How do you forgive somebody who was actually evil? How do you forgive somebody who was actually just a bad person? How do you forgive somebody who did the worst thing in the world to you? You know, and that's not just about relationships. That's about, like, you know, abuse. And how do you forgive a monster? And that's the thing. Before I go back to my ex first, because, you know, it was because I learned how to forgive my ex that I learned how to forgive the other monsters, we'll say. So I was in a narcissistically abusive relationship for about 8 years. And when we broke up, I didn't give a shit. He was an asshole. I was angry. I was bitter. I wished the worst on him. You know, I would never have gotten revenge. It's not who I am. But my thoughts were like, he's an asshole. I wished nothing but badness on him. And that's the way I felt. And a few years later, he nearly died. And I was like, fuck that. I don't give a shit. Fucking he deserves it, whatever. And I felt like I didn't care. And my body reacted as if I did care. My body reacted in like a disease. Do you know, and I could feel it. And I was like, this is weird. My body is reacting to something I don't care about. And I had to actually go within. I named my unconscious mind George so that I could ask him, what the fuck was I feeling weird stuff for when I didn't actually care? And it turned out, right, this is how I figured it out, was because my ex nearly died, I actually felt guilty that I had caused his ill health because I'd wished him nothing but, you know, I was angry with him, you know, as we always are with people who've hurt us. And I felt like I was responsible for his nearly dying. And that's the reason my body reacted. It wasn't that, like, you know, I had feelings or concerns for him. It was that I actually felt that I'd caused it. And I was like, that's not a good feeling. You know what I mean? Like, I actually, with my thoughts and my anger, that I could have caused a person to die. And, you know, no matter who he is and no matter what he did to me, I would not wish that on anyone. And that's when I understood I needed to forgive him in order to let go. Because I was so angry. And at the time I was angry with him and I was angry with my other ex. And I was just like so angry really with men in general, but angry with them and me and the whole situation. And it was preventing me from healing fully. Then I discovered that forgiveness is not about the person. It's about you. It's about letting that energy go so that you can finally move on. It's not about saying that was okay. And you don't have to go up to that person and say, I forgive you. You need to just do it within yourself so that you can let it go. And this is the thing, like, you know, and when I actually understood that, and when I did forgive my ex, I ended up being able to forgive my other ex as well. And I understood that what they did wasn't a reflection of who I was. It was because of their own shit. And that doesn't, condone it either. But in that then, I was actually able to forgive a monster, we'll call him. And that helped me to heal the biggest trauma I ever went through. Do you know what I mean? So forgiveness is about you. It's not about that other person. It's not about the behavior or the evil that they did. It's about you releasing your pain and attachment to it. And that's so hard, because as I said, how do you forgive a monster? But it's not about them. It's not about what they did. It's about you and your healing. It's about releasing your attachment to it. And this has been so beneficial in my growth and my healing, because I've healed that biggest trauma in my life. I didn't think I would ever overcome that. And it's still a bit raw. Well, it's not raw, it's 10 years ago. But when I talk about it, it still comes up a little bit raw, because it's resurfacing at the moment for me. But, to be able to, the way I've healed from that, I never thought I could even get to 3/4 healing. But I actually got more healing done than I actually ever thought was possible, because I forgave. I forgave them. I forgave myself as well, because I had a lot of self-blame towards those relationships and towards that trauma that happened to me. A lot of self-blame. And I didn't even realize how much self-blame I had until I had to reface this trauma again this year, because it was the 10-year anniversary. And you have to forgive to release. And I know a lot of people are going to be triggered by this, because I agree, it's so hard to forgive a monster. It's so hard to forgive somebody who's evil. It's so hard to forgive somebody who ruined your life, more or less. But it's not about them. It's about releasing your attachment to it. It's releasing the hold it has over you. Because, when you're angry and bitter towards somebody, they might feel it energetically, but they're not going to that isn't going to bother them. They don't know. You're angry. If I'm sitting here, and this is what I used to do, I would be sitting here upset, angry, bitter towards these people. That's not affecting them. They're still fucking getting on with their lives, and they're happy as pigs and shit. Whereas I'm sitting here and I'm angry and I'm upset over how they treated me. How am I going to move forward in my healing or in my growth or in my life when I'm letting them still have a hold on me? They're still technically abusing me if I'm sitting here getting upset, emotional and angry over what they did. Technically, they still have control in my life when I'm still bitter towards them. Do you know what I mean? So they've never actually lost control of you. You're sitting here allowing that situation to still control your life. But if you forgive, if you let it go, you can move on. And it does work. Don't get me wrong, I don't like my ex anymore. It's not about forgiving and then thinking they're a good person. That's not it. He's still a bad person. I still don't like him. I still don't like what he did. Same with the other assholes that I encountered. But it no longer has a hold on me. And that's the beauty of it. And I've been healing this for the last few years, and I've noticed this in my dreams. I continuously dreamt about my exes. And in the dreams, the two of them, it'd be separate dreams, but I'd be back together with them, and then halfway through the dream, I'd freak out going, oh my God, I have to break this off. But the dreams are getting better now, because I've released that attachment. I've released that the hold they had. Now if they come into my dreams, things are actually amicable in a sense. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that I've completely let go of that control that they had. And that's it. It's releasing that control over you. If you're still angry and bitter over a past relationship or a past person, let it go. Understand it and forgive it. Understand that when a person does something, it is based on their own shit and their own trauma. That does not condone it, because evil is fucking evil. And, that's it. But once again, I will keep saying to you, this is not to condone the behavior. This is to help you heal. So forgive yourself and forgive those traumas in the past and forgive those people for you, not for them, for you. You do never have to speak to these people again, but do not let them still control your life if you're sitting there being bitter and angry towards it, because they once controlled you while you're in that situation. Don't let them control you now. Release that. Forgive them, for their behaviour, understand that those people are just the way they are because of their own shit, hope that they will get the help that they fucking need, and move on. Let your hold on it go. Let their hold on you go. And this is why forgiveness is so important. And forgive yourself. You know, it wasn't your fault that these people were dickheads. It wasn't your fault that these people were abusive. Do you know? And that's the most important thing. Like, you know, and I think when I learned to forgive them, I did learn to forgive myself. Because a lot of it I did blame myself for. You know? So let go. Let go of that control. Let it go so that you can move on. Let it go so that you can let new love, healthy love into your life. Do you know? Don't let those people, those situations still control and dictate your life. Let go of that anger, let go of that pain. And forgive them and forgive yourself. For you. Not for them, for you. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.